Welcome to the PRAKSIS podcast. This episode is recorded at the start of PRAKSIS' 26th residency, Brick Year. The residency is organised together with architects Don Lawrence and Andy Rahman, as well as with Centre for Cultural Learning Samong Haven, which is located in Bali, where the residency is taking place. The residency explores the technology, history, aesthetics, and potentials of brick as a sustainable medium. Today, as part of getting to know each other, 3 of the residents respond to the simple but fun question, what comes to mind when you think of brick?
Okay, hi, I'm Elise. I work and live in Belgium, and I am a contemporary jewelry artist. I'm teaching at St. Lucas in Antwerp now in the jewelry department, and I try to work on the side as an artist. I mostly like to make objects that are related to jewelry and space, I guess. But Ellie, I think you're interested in crafts as well, right?
Yes.
So who are
true.
you?
So my name is Ellie. I'm from the UK. So I live in Cornwall in England, which is at the furthest western tip of England, surrounded by the coast. And I work around design, craft, making and education. But I think, to summarize, I always tend to say that I'm a designer just because it's the most kind of encompassing term and not too specific. So that's me. Arya?
Okay, hi everyone. Name is Arya. I'm an Indonesian designer and I live in Bali for the past 5 years. And I'm really interested in crafts, especially in Indonesian, because we have a lot of varieties of cultures. Even if you throw a stone in one place, you can ask that they speak a different language than you. So that's the thing. I mean, I did a lot of research aside from my design career. Mostly, I go to a lot of eastern part of Indonesia, where practically there's not. I feel I have to put more spotlight into that place because it deserves more. And I think that's all about me. So it came back to Elise. I think I want to know what kind of materials that you're working with in your jewelry. Is there specific things that you would like to work with?
Well, let's stick to the residency topic, breaking it. And it's not a usual material to use within jewelry, I guess, but I worked with a brick for a while now. So nice. I like to think of the brick of like as an element or like one object you can use or start with, because it is initially this idea, right? You have one unit and you multiply it and then it becomes useful. But I was thinking, like, what if you use this one unit to make like smaller parts of it, or like maybe jewelry out of it. So I guess the brick is for me, it started as a measurement unit. Like when you know the measurements of one brick, it's easy to like know the scale of or like the measurements of a building. And I saw direct links between gemstones and bricks, and so actually jewelry and architecture.
And the brick is like designed to fit in the human hand, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah,
like
that
the
was
size.
that was actually the start. That's the reason why I started to work with the brick within the jewelry field then. So this human scale is interesting, right?
Yeah. So one hand you can have the trowel, and one hand you can have the brick. So.
I think it's interesting because people used to think brick is pretty brittle, but you put it in your ring or in your hands, where mostly people just put some precious stone, precious things, and you can like something like it has a different it's a new values on it.
Yeah, actually the bricks I made are brick size.
Yep.
so it's not fitting in jewelry, but it's still fitting the body. But I was wondering, what is a brick for you, Arya? Did you research a brick within Indonesia, or
Yep.
what's your first thought?
Yeah, I think it's like 7-8 years ago I did research in central part of Java, but not specifically bricks. It's a roof industry, but technically it's the same process, the same material, but it consists of a more complex mold. And yeah, I saw that it's an interesting way because it has transformed through many generations. From the origins, it was designed for colonial buildings, but now there are more contemporary attempt to create much more complex things. And I see bricks in Indonesia as a sign of how our community, our generation transformed through each generation. And yeah, and how about you, Ellie? I mean, is it any different in UK how they respond to bricks? Is there any different approach?
Well, I mean, it's only after my first week in Indonesia, in Bali, so I haven't yet really, apart from just like observing bricks and buildings, I haven't yet understood the process around like extracting the clay or how they actually produce the bricks here. But obviously that's what we'll be doing in the next month, so that'll be really interesting. But in the UK, like the reason why I came to researching bricks was I was thinking about, I was actually doing a project and they asked us to think about a colour, like one colour in a specific place that had like a meaning to that place. So for me, I was trying to think like, what is the colour in my own village or my own town that's interesting? And I like really was trying to find something like interesting and exciting. And then I was just saying like, I can't think of any colour, like everything is just brick, like it's just all brick everywhere. And
it's the best color.
yeah, but it was so normal that I couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
So then I was speaking to my grandma and she said, oh, do you know there's brick makers still just up the road where she lives? So I went to visit the brick makers and it's the only one left now in the area, but there was originally like over 100 in a very small region. And the reason why this brick maker has survived is because they reintroduced the technique of wood firing bricks, which was a kind of lost technique in the UK. So by doing that, they could then introduce and sell bricks for conservation that had the old like wood-fired effect, because it creates like a black ash on the brick from the firing process. So by kind of researching and then building these wood-fired kilns, they actually managed to save the brickyard when all the rest turned to mass manufacture, and then kind of the bigger companies then could undercut them with price and everything. So they can sell the bricks, handmade bricks, for higher price because now they have a special value for restoration and like for the area. So yeah, for me it's like very linked with my home and where I live, and I think like kind of images of historical or like romantic England. So it's actually really interesting to come to Indonesia and have similar conversations or discuss like how the brick fits in with life here. And for you in Belgium, it's also very like common brick building.
Yeah,
so.
definitely. I wanted to add, like you say, you're in Indonesia and then you try to find bricks as well, right? You look around, like where are the bricks here? Because it's so obvious to us, like in the UK or in Belgium, you look around, they're everywhere. And here you have to search a little bit or like look a little bit, but they're actually like also in a lot of places, but different places as well. I've seen many on the beach or like used to, I don't know, fill a hole in the road or so there's different ways of working with pieces of bricks or like so I think that's nice. And I don't know, there's something else I wanted to say, but I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, like coming to a new country that you haven't been to before,
Yeah.
like you feel like you have these like new glasses where you can just see like everything so clearly that you don't see at home. And I was thinking like, for me, I keep noticing all the palm weaving and bamboo weaving because it's not something we use in architecture or
See.
really many like, you don't really see so many like handmade craft things on the street. Everyone's turned to plastic and mass manufacturing. So that for me like is jumping out all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's,
Another thing I'm I remind myself to know is in Belgium actually it's a common thing that people like keep bricks in their garden. I don't know if you know that kind of like no? Okay, it's like when people build something or they build their own house. Like Belgians like to do it, build their own house, but you always have some bricks left, right? You
Yep.
buy a little bit too much, you keep them in the garden, and people keep them even if it's not enough to make something new with them, but they keep them because it's useful, I guess,
Yeah,
or like why
someday
do you
you're
keep
gonna
the
need
bricks?
it.
Yeah, maybe one day
Yeah.
you need that brick. So when you look on the internet, there's many people also giving away bricks because
Oh.
they have leftover bricks.
yeah.
And here with the thing that I said, that you see that bricks are used like in different spots or to keep, I don't know, to fix something. I think they're more used here. Like the leftovers are different, or like
Yep.
the way people cherish their brick or something. It's
Yeah, I
different.
know. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
value of the brick can really
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
when you actually need them to build something, suddenly you're like really want these bricks, and it's hard to find them. And reclaimed bricks are actually very valuable and hard
Yeah.
to find. But then suddenly, when it's like a wall that you no longer want, it's just people just knock down the wall or throw the bricks in the garden, and they're just meaningless, or the value changes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's quite interesting. But what do you know about like brick, the history of brick in Indonesia? Do you know much about
Yeah,
that?
I think I know a bit in Japanese, and like I said, it was intended for the colonial buildings at first, and they built like a factories to support all the colonial buildings all around Java, and they built all the logistic, all the roads to support their operation, and I think it was the first intention that materials was created, along with the roofs, stone roof. The stoneware, terracotta, and but there's a new waves of people specifically in the center of Java called Jatiwangi, where they have a different approach of seeing this bricks, not only just like a bunch of soil, but as Ali said, they put a higher value on it. For example, they made a special music group playing with bricks, using as an instrument. And I think that's another way to put it, and to not see it as just a cheap bricks in Indonesia. I think bricks is very cheap, but it's put another value, and it fits the needs of the newer generation to be acknowledged, not only by the material itself. I think that's kind of new in Indonesia. But I wonder if there's another approach in other countries that you know of, and that using this materials out of their usual
or like
things.
change the function
Yeah.
of this block, or I think there's a lot to discover.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're here in PRAKSIS, right? We're
Yeah.
collaborating with each other, maybe sharing that kind of story.
Yeah.
And